most catastrophic wardrobe malfunction?
I haven't had a really bad like wardrobe malfunction, but I did a Masane from Witchblade, which is just, you know,
Oh yeah.
really skimpy. And it wasn't done, but I worked really hard on it, so I wanted to like wear it at least for a little bit. And it was Otakon, and it was really hot, and it was just kind of like slowly slipping, like everything was just slipping, and it was just, I was like, I gotta go change, or this is just gonna completely fall off of me. That was not what I wanted, so that's probably the worst. Yeah.
As 8 photographers were following her constantly.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
How did I not see that? You got pictures of that on your, I don't mean the malfunction, I mean you have pictures of the cosplay on your...
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not done, it's terrible. So, I mean, but you could look at it still.
There's never enough time to look at everybody's stuff.
I mean, I got to the point where I was just kind of like holding it there. I was like, just in case.
Justin, anything?
I don't know, malfunctions. I mean, the first time I did Bardock, when I was working on my own, I made it out of fucking craft foam and hot glue. And it was Anime Next 2012, and I wore it for half the day. And then it was slowly pulling apart throughout the day, and I was using the tail to kind of hold it together. And then finally, right when I was about to leave, the armor just busted open. And I was like, yeah, and I was just like, okay. Luckily, it was like right. It was funny how I was like right when I was about to get in my car to go home, and I was like, it just gave up on life.
Oh, hey!
What's up, Gina B? Nice of you to join us.
Welcome to the packed cosplay.
Woo!
I actually got around this guy?
Yeah, we'll try and squeeze it.
Big
Oh,
Ten.
yeah, I had to squeeze into it.
So we're telling stories of cosplay malfunctions.
Yep, your turn.
Oh!
What was your name?
I'm Detty from Detty Cosplay.
Detty, alright.
My best malfunction story is the last time I ever used hot glue. Specifically because it was C2E2 and I did Gambit, and I had straps in the back under the coat, and it was foam under a leather coat against a very hot Detty, and the hot glue actually remelted and the whole thing fell apart, and I had to switch back into my day one costume.
That is one hot Detty.
That was rough sauce. Yeah, C2E2 needs some AC.
I don't trust hot glue.
I don't really have one. I try to make sure everything's where it should be around the house. Like, do a few laps, make sure things aren't moving.
Wait, you actually finish your costume early enough in time to do that?
I get like viewed like an hour before the con.
She's too good for this panel. Get out.
No.
I'm sure all my costumes don't fall apart.
No, I keep everything everywhere.
I've never had like a costume malfunction. I've had an allergic reaction with the costume before.
Dude, that counts.
Oh, yeah, alright.
So like, my Predator suit is all latex, so I've always worn Batman cowls and stuff. I've never had like a latex allergy, but I had this thing on in Florida at MegaCon a couple years ago. So I was in it for probably like 6 hours at this point, and then my skin, I peeled my hands off to just get some air in my body and whatnot, and my hands like had swollen up, you know, considerably, you know, and all of a sudden like my neck started swelling up and stuff too, so I had to like take the entire suit off just to get some air in my body. I put it back on to like, you know, weather the storm for the convention, but
That sounds like a bad idea.
it was.
Yeah.
I felt like shit the rest of the night.
Imagine that.
I would have to say mine would probably be during AWA, maybe 2013 I think it was. I was poisoned from Street Fighter. And I had fillers because my boobs aren't as big as Poison's. So I had like these little gross silicone filler whatevers. I posed for a photo and it just kind of slid down and it said boop on the towel. And I was still in the middle of the photo, so I had one boobie and one not boobie.
Best shit
And during the photo I just kind of gently reached down and put it back in, and then the only person that saw like was just like whatever, then walked away.
I think my worst malfunction was, I think, mostly in poor planning than anything else. I was maybe 15 at the time. It was Otakon 2005, and I decided I wanted to be IMA from the video game Tenchu, Fatal Shadows. And that version was, of course, like the skankiest one out there. She had like these traditional Hakama pants, but the slits on the sides went all the way down to her knees, so I was like, I'm gonna do that. And I don't know, I'm like 15, totally smart, you know. And I'm walking around and I realized that it's great to have these giant slits on the sides of your pants, but when I walked, you could kind of see like straight through from either side, and that I didn't really calculate because I didn't walk around my house a few times to figure that out. And so yada yada yada, I ended up changing out of that costume really quickly because whoops.
Yeah.
That was a good topic.
All right.
Come on, Tim, think of something.
I'm simply the video guy.
That was a great question.
That was a solid question.
Yeah.
That was his question.
Really?
Alright.
Oh, Rob,
that was his question.
What, is
You're
that a
right.
question?
Yeah, that was your question.
Good job.
Yeah.
Surprise, you're moderator.
I asked what the creepiest thing happened to, but it turned into malfunction, so that was good.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if you want to go through that, go for
Oh,
it.
creepiest thing?
I got one.
I think we all know that we've all might have, well, if you're a girl, you might have run into a specific person, but there's some, like, people that just come up to you and just, like, whisper in your ear, and they're like, and you're like, what? Can't hear me. Excuse me? What are you doing to me? And then, like, some people ask the creepiest things, like, hey, can you put your leg up on me? And it's like,
What?
what if I'm wearing a skirt? That's weird. So, I mean, there's a lot of, like, general things for creepers like that, but that's just a good idea of it.
What about do owl?
Oh my gosh. I was at Anime USA this year, and I was doing art book Kami Sonico crossover, and some guy was, like, he had this, like, DS, and he had, like, a live stream going on or something like that, and people were asking him for specific poses, and he's, tell me to do these poses, do cute, do sassy, and then he's like, do owl. And I was like, and I looked at him and I was like, what's owl? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, you don't know when you're asking me to do it? And he's like, I don't know, make your eyes big and like go like that. I was like, okay. It was painfully weird.
Weird.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Anything for you, Justin?
Oh, me? About an hour ago, this
Great.
this guy dressed as like Carnage with like really long fingers touched my nipple.
Oh, I saw that. That was tasting.
Yeah.
That was.
I was
I liked that
mortally
guy.
disturbed
Now I
and scared for my
don't.
life.
Interesting.
I changed costumes and apologized later. It's not really creepy, but my very first time cosplaying, I did a Deadpool costume, and I've lost a bit of weight since then, but I was fit-ish, and it was spandex, and a guy actually came up to me and gave me a business card that said, "Spandex is a privilege, not a right."
Whoa.
Which,
Wow.
yeah, I
Fired.
went home and
Oh, yeah.
cried a little about that. But, I mean, it happens. Don't be a douche.
Pretty douchey.
Pretty high on the douchey scale.
Yeah,
Wow.
On the douchey Richter scale.
The only thing I can think of is I did Catwoman, and I didn't even know, like, somebody told me way after, thanks, but, I was wearing Catwoman and, like, bending over and, like, setting up stuff, and I guess somebody, like, from, like, way across the con had, like, a zoom lens, like, crazy. It was just, like every time I bent over.
Wow.
apparently.
I hear about that stuff from people. It's like, people zooming in on parts and stuff. What is wrong with people?
And that's how she met Spencer.
That lens cost me a considerable amount. Mine's kind of like creepy and flattering at the same time, I guess, depending on how you take it. I met a certain guy who was in a Star Wars movie who played, might have played Darth Maul. And I was at a convention dressed as Snake Eyes, another character that he was familiar with. And he made a comment on my derriere, which is kind of weird. And I thought I misheard him about something. He was just commenting that I had a robust bum. And, but yeah, a couple other people were like, I thought I was mishearing him, but then they're like, no, he definitely was commenting on your ass, so that was, I don't know if it was, it was creepy.
That's
but
Robust.
sounds flattering.
it was, I was flattered, but that's like the closest I have to a creepy story.
Dude, Toad likes your butt.
I'll just
Let's see. I think this was ConnectiCon 2013, and I was cosplaying Morgan Anslin from Darkstalkers, and Morgan's very
Out there?
Yes. So the way I did the costume, I couldn't have any underwear on underneath, which kind of sucked. So I was essentially walking around naked except for a leotard and tights. And this guy just kind of came up and slapped my ass really hard. Just super hard. I was like, okay. And yeah. That's so good.
2013 was a good year.
He just slapped you and walked away? Like, no big deal?
That happens.
Wow. It's like,
I mean, at the time I
unbelievable.
was flattered, but then I thought about it and I was like, wait a moment, I didn't know him.
I just got sexually harassed. Shit.
I mean, I think that happens to a lot of people. There's plenty of creepy stories that's happened to me, but I think when the topic was proposed, the first one that came to mind was actually one that happened to my boyfriend that I witnessed. Being that he has his giant mohawk, everyone wants to touch it, which, I mean, people have to touch my hair too, but they're just like, they pat it and then they walk away. But this girl came up to us while he and I were having a conversation and just decided that she was part of our conversation first, and then she then just interjects and goes, "Can I touch your mohawk?" to him, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever," like he's not thinking about it. She proceeded to grab his head and lick his mohawk in front of me, and I was really astounded for a whole half a second. I was just like, what would possess you to put that in your mouth? Like, first of all, he's been sweating all day at a con, let alone just like the hair product, and it was just like, so we were pretty gross.
Wow.
That's creepy.
All right.
So Gina wins.
Yeah.
To doing the cosplay, and what was your first costume?
That's a good question.
Okay. Well, since I was little, I've been watching anime and cartoons and whatever, playing games. And, I always just wanted to be like, oh, I want to, like, act like this person or dress up like this person and, you just do little things to do kind of closet cosplays when you're younger, just, like, prance around. Like, I'm a Pokemon, and, so I grew up thinking that, and as I got older, I figured out, cosplaying was actually a thing, and not only Halloween was the time to dress up, and then I discovered conventions and just started cosplaying at Otakon in 2011.
Okay. Well, when I was a kid, I mean, I liked reading anime and reading anime. Okay, reading manga and watching anime, and I would go to Florida a lot to spend the summer with my cousin, and he went to cons, and this was when I was like 7 or 8, and then he took me to one day, and I was like, what's going on? There's like, this is awesome, and he took me to the dealer's room, and I just was spending the whole con with him. I saw everyone in cosplay, and then I went the next day, the Saturday, and I was like, I want to do that too. What other kind of cosplay stuff do you have? Just throw something together for me. So I was wearing like his Naruto jacket, some random beach sandals, shorts, and a headband from Naruto, and I was like, yay, because I was like 7. So that was my first cosplay or attempt at it, I guess.
Wow, when you were 7? Wow.
Yeah, and that's what got me into doing it.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Well, by trade, I'm an actor in my day job, so I've been playing dress up since I was a kid anyway. And I've always been a huge comic book nerd, and every Halloween, my mom would make me a Halloween costume, but when I say make me, I mean like red sweatpants and black duct tape to be Spider-Man. Some jank stuff. But just as I grew up, doing theater, I learned a lot of different build techniques, and every year my Halloween costume would get more elaborate, and then I moved to New York for my career and started going to cons and realized, holy cow, there's this whole other world of my people. Where have I been? So I learned how to work with foam and the do's and don'ts of spandex, and the rest is history. And my first real cosplay that wasn't like a Halloween costume was, I mentioned Deadpool. It was a Green Lantern Deadpool for New York Comic Con. It's still one of my most proud costumes.
I liked Batman since I was little, and I always loved making things, and I'd go all out on Halloween, but my first actual costume was Arkham City Harley Quinn, and yeah, it took me forever to go to conventions though, because I have terrible anxiety, so that's why it was always just Halloween. Before that, I'd go all out and make costumes.
My first experience was, I used to do charity events as Batman. I made a Halloween costume one time, and then I went to a couple parties, and my friends were like, oh, you spent all this time, procuring parts and stuff for it. So I started doing hospital events, for Shriners Kids Hospitals as Batman. And then so I did that for a little bit, and then I went to my first convention out of costume because I was terrified to show up in costume. I was like, so I just got a feel for it, and I saw people running around taking pictures and stuff. Like, this seems like something I'd want to do too. And so I went to my first costume all by myself in a bat suit, and completely terrified. I didn't know how to pose with anybody. I just stood there with my hand on my belt the entire time, standing around like a fool. And but I had a blast. It was I met all these people, like-minded people and stuff, and I just felt very at home after that. And just made a bunch of friends, and just I was addicted after that. Just kept going on, meeting more and more people. So.
I started cosplaying in 2006? No, 2007. And I heard about ConnectiCon in 2006, and I was like, what is this? What kind of thing is this? And then I went there, and it was just people dressed up as these anime characters and video game characters that you see, and it's like, wow, this is a thing. So, and then the next year, I went as Edward, and Edward from Cowboy Bebop, and I've been cosplaying ever since. So.
Can I just point out that 2007 is 8 years ago? Holy crap. Time is just, just saying. Wow. I was like, what was I doing in 2007? Oh, right.
When I started, I was in middle school, and I had very few people that I talked to then. I was sort of the same height, unfortunately, so I was monsterish compared to my classmates. But I was pudgy, and I had acne, and I had glasses, and I had braces, and I was in honor society. So needless to say, I wasn't too high on the friend scale. And I was really into Dragon Ball Z at the time, so I would dress really tomboyish, and I wore my Dragon Ball Z t-shirts to school, and everyone thought I was a freak. And that was what I did, though. I was interested in it, and I didn't care that anybody else was interested in it, because I was gonna watch it anyway. And I will never forget schlepping home from school one day, miserable with my life, and I knew I had nothing really going for me, but I was gonna go home, do my homework, whatever. And this girl who lived a block over, she was a number of years older than me, and she never talked to me before. I was never friends with her, but I saw her once in a while, walking home, and she saw my t-shirt, and she stopped me, and she says, do you actually watch the show? And I didn't know if she was about to make fun of me, and so I was kind of very apprehensive to admit it, but I was like, yeah, and she mentioned that she was going to that summer to Otakon. And she described to me exactly what a convention was and the fact that she was making a costume, and immediately my brain was on fire with ideas. The fact that this is a thing. I knew of conventions because my dad is a Trekkie, and I knew about the Star Trek convention thing, but I didn't know it applied also to anime, and that it also applied to, the whole Japanese thing. So when I got home, immediately I said to my dad, I want to be Sango from Inuyasha. This character just speaks to me, I gotta beat her. And he was like, all right, how are you gonna make it? And I was like, I'm gonna make it, and I made it out of pizza boxes covered in fabric with hot glue.
Yes.
I painted it for the edges. The boomerang we made out of styrofoam covered in duct tape, and we spray painted that. And when I showed up to that convention, I was smiling from ear to ear. I was so proud of what I accomplished, and everyone there thought it was so cool too. They knew who I was. I made friends with a whole bunch of people who walked around from Inuyasha, and to this day, I still know those people. And that was where my original friend set went with. And I went to that con, my dad drove me, but he didn't buy a badge, so I went in by myself, and I was alone, 14, as Sango, covered in duct tape. And I had the time of my life, and I was then next year, able to meet up with those same people, and then eventually you found your con friends, and I think we all have that similar, story where we then were able to find who we were through conventions and cosplay. But I have no idea to this day who that girl, what her name was, so I credit her.
Wow.
That was good.
I have a question.
Go for it.
What's your favorite Pokemon and why?
Well, when I I was young, it used to be Jigglypuff because, you know, little girl, pink puffball. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's go. I mean, I still really love Jigglypuff, but if I had to like say a serious Pokemon that I really like, it would be Swampert because just playing Sapphire, it was just a beast, and like it was. I just had a lot of fun battling with my Swampert, so yeah, that's why. And he looks pretty cool, but the Mega form I think is a little bit weird, but you know, that's okay. I deal with it.
Charizard, because Charizard.
Good reason. Perfect. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's very Goku of you.
The last Pokemon game I played was Fire Red, so I'm a little out of the loop.
It's okay.
But when I was a kid, it was Charizard because Charizard. But now I'm actually working on a Pokemon costume that has made me fall in love with Blastoise. So I'm actually building a Blastoise costume this year that's going to be functional with shooting water. So I'm going to say Blastoise because Charizard.
I'm not into it anymore. When I was little, I was. I was very stereotypical though. Like I liked Pikachu because I thought Pikachu was adorable.
I'm super old, so I wasn't really into Pokemon, but I did sell some cards sometimes.
But if you had to
The
pick,
kids on the block.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
Just
this
say
is my
Charizard
one.
because
I was gonna
Charizard.
say this actually is really funny because I worked at my friend's comic shop and I sold like all these hologram Charizards. There was like 4 of them in a pack, and I sold like all of them to one guy, and I thought it was just one card in there, so he got like 4 of them for the price of one. I guess they were
whoops.
They were
And he
Charizard.
was fired.
Yeah, my friend was do that. It was Charizard.
Because Charizard.
If I had to pick, it would probably be between, well, since I was younger, I've always had a thing for Squirtle because he's blue and turtle and cute and bald and, you know.
And that Squirtle gang too.
Yeah.
He was a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always just like Pokemon that, you know, if you could imagine them to be real, that you would be able to, like, hold them. I like the ones that you can hold. So Squirtle and probably Cubone because he's just cute and his story is so sad and you just want to cuddle him. So,
Yeah.
so
Most depressing thing
but if I-
ever.
Yeah.
but if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably
And it molds
sooner
his
go with
face when he
Squirtle.
evolves.
Maybe, probably Squirtle.
I don't know, I'm a big fan of the fire types. I think it's because of my personality. I always wanted the fire types. I'll always start the fire starter no matter how crappy their design is because it's the fire starter. My favorite was Arcanine because it's a fire dog. That thing is monstrous and it means business. Love it. Though I have to say, now that I'm an adult looking back on this, my favorite would definitely be Ditto Pikachu because it is so hysterically funny looking that I just can't help but want to squish its cheeks all the time. So Ditto Pikachu for me holds the top shelf.
To go off of his question, it's not really a question, but do you guys want to do your impressions of your favorite Pokemon? I think that would be really fun.
I think that's a worse.
Why'd I pick Squirtle?
And
What noise? Like when it comes out in the games, it's like, you know.
Yeah, right?
So
Like, are we talking game noise or anime noise?
I don't know
Anime
what it is
noise, anime
that's
noise.
like in Anime. What does it just?
because
say
game noise, they all
Swampert?
make weird noises.
Like Pokemon always say their names. Just Swampert.
You can do your Jigglypuff one.
I can do a really good wall.
Oh god, I don't know if my voice could do it. I was like, that's about it.
Oh, me? Do I have to? Yeah, Charizard just makes...
Charizard doesn't say his name.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
the anime or in the game, so he's just
It's
like...
literally just
He's like, I'm right.
because that's what
Well,
Charizard is in the
you
anime.
can try.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with Blastoise. He doesn't.
Because
I mean, he
Charizard.
doesn't say Blastoise. Like he just kind of.
That's pretty good though. That was really good.
Really good sound. Like that.
You're on point there.
No, I pass.
Me too.
Squirtle?
I'm really bad at Ditto Pikachu. I don't know what sound it makes, but I'm really good at Wobbuffet.
Do it.
Wobba Wobba! Wobbuffet! That's all I got. That's all I got.
Woo.
I do voice.
Yeah, we
So
so
on that
finally
note.
embarrassed ourselves with Pikachu's
It
now.
like changed my life, so yeah, definitely would have gone.
Understood.
Should have thought about it more while you were talking.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, because I kind of really like Dragon Con, because Dragon Con and constant just we woke up, what are we having for breakfast? Orange juice and gin. Alright, let's go. You know, like a slightly less party con, but, you know, doing con things but still having fun, probably. I think I'll just piggyback answer and say Otakon.
You weren't even gonna go to Otakon last year.
Because Dragon Con.
Kind of going off the real answer, like, you know, you never forget your first con, and for me, my first real con was New York Comic Con, and it's huge, and it's packed, and it's smelly, and I love it. It's my favorite. I go every year. I'm never gonna miss it.
Nice.
New York Comic Con all the way.
When was your first one?
What year was that? 2011, 10, somewhere in there.
I think you said.
It was 10 or 11, somewhere in there.
This is actually my first con outside of Texas, but my favorite down there is Comic Palooza in Houston, just because I have fun. Like, I've met so many people from that one.
I'm like a toss-up for favorite cons ever. I mean, I've done Dragon Con in New York. They both have like their things, you know, that they have. Dragon Con is like the cosplayers con. Everybody goes there, you know, and you mingle with your friends and everything and whatnot. So it just seems like a big party with everybody dressed up. But like for the general public, like New York, like if you're just going to a regular convention, New York is like something really cool because just all the media that's there, and it's a smaller scaled down version of San Diego. I've never been to San Diego from what I've heard, you know, from my friends and stuff. It's that smaller version of it, and I've had a lot of good experiences at that convention as well. So
This previous Comic Con for New York has exceeded
San
San Diego this year.
San Diego's capacity.
That's
so-
right.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Represent.
And,
What's the thing? Yeah, that you're not waiting like 5
And
hours.
and the thing is, so this past year I was at both San Diego and New York, and I enjoyed New York a lot better. Like it's still not as media hyped as San Diego. It's still more of a traditional con in New York. So.
I would have to say, well, it used to be ConnectiCon because, you know, like you said, you never get your first con. So ConnectiCon was like a huge thing for me because before, like Hartford Comic Con and YourMiniCon and Connecticut Comic Con, it was just ConnectiCon. And, you know, that was just the big thing, the thing that I looked forward towards during the year. And since I've been going to other conventions, I've gone to KatsuCon, I've gone to AWA, I've gone to, you know, different conventions. I would have to say now my favorite convention would have to be AWA Anime Week in Atlanta because I noticed that like Northeastern cons are kind of like, I don't know, and maybe it's just my experiences, but a lot of people there are kind of more snooty, I guess.
No, you are fully. I completely agree with this.
Completely.
Because like I've been, like I said, I've been to KatsuCon. It's kind of like it feels like the big leagues. It's like, you know, if it feels like if your cosplay isn't top notch, they're kind of like looking down at you and stuff. You go south and everything's cool. Like it doesn't matter what your costume looks like. Everyone loves it. If you like the same series, then they're all, you know, they're all like, you know, like cool. That's awesome. I love your costume. This and that. Let's be friends. This and that. And you know, people I guess are more genuine and friendly down south. So AWA is definitely my favorite con because you can go there. It's big deals room and stuff. You know, people in costume of whatever quality, and people are friendly.
I definitely agree with that actually, because when I started going to Dragon Con a few years back, I noticed that also that like the guy can show up in his Mach 5 as his Speed Racer, and you show up with like a cardboard box Mach 5, but they'll still be like, that's awesome, you know what I mean? I feel like you have a lot more appreciation down there for the effort, I think. But my top ranked con right now has to be Colossal Con, because first of all, it's really economic as far as conventions go, because when I take into an account of like an awesome con, I'll look at how much it cost me to get there versus how much I'm paying for the actual venue versus badges and how long the event is and what you can actually do there. And Colossal Con is held in a indoor-outdoor water park. So if I'm not in costume, I'm in the swim-up hot tub bar, soaking in the sun, you know, have the hot water going on. And for me, that's an awesome perk for when you're not in costume. So it's like I can sort of, it's very cost effective as far as the venue is in terms of the hotel itself. And so it's fun that you can have that aspect of a vacation in with a convention. It takes the stress off, I think, a lot.
Where is that?
It's in Ohio. It's up in Sandusky. It's actually a 10-minute drive from the, what is it called, Cedar Point up there. So if you ever want to take a day off from the con, you can then have a whole day at the amusement park. So it's awesome in terms of, you know, just a solid vacation.
And I'm from Ohio. Cedar Point is where it's at.
The rest of Ohio is like absolute desolate.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
But that part right there,
Yeah,
like,
but Cedar Point is awesome.
So, what's everyone reading right now? If you're reading anything.
As in comics or
As in
Japanese?
as in comics or manga or.
I don't know. I read like comics and manga pretty randomly. Like, you know, he picked up The Death of Wolverine for me not that long ago, so like I read that. I haven't really had much time to read lately, but I guess I don't know. I would continue more comics if I had to do anything, but I don't know exactly what I want to pick up. But I just don't have the time, so nothing really lately.
Well, with me, I have like, well, I usually have at least 50 tabs on my computer open at all times. I'm just varying Facebook and everything else, but I have like 7 or 8 mangas open. I don't remember what all of them are. I know I'm reading Tokyo Ghoul, I think. Is that it? And I'm like halfway to being up to date. And I just started a comic got killed because we were watching the anime. And I usually like to read and watch things in conjunction, see how they like differ. And you know, usually you get a lot more meat out of like the manga because the anime has to like condense it or they get cut off before they can keep going with the series. Because the comic got killed is already done and like the manga is like still ongoing right now. We're only like halfway through the anime, so I really want to see like what's gonna happen next after it gets like cut off. So I'm reading that too.
I am behind, so I am catching up on Superior Spider-Man. I just started it yesterday, like 4 or 5 issues in, so there's still the Peter Parker ghost going on. And I know a couple things that happen, but on the whole I've been able to avoid spoilers, so I'm really into that right now.
I've been really busy, like, so the only one I've been kind of keeping up with, not really, is Harley Quinn right now.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I'm like in the middle of moving. So the last comics I bought was 1 through 5 in Gambit's solo series. That's the last thing, like last year.
Go figure.
Surprise.
I don't really read much, but but if I do read, it's usually manga. So right now I'm reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I'm also reading this one weird, not really weird, but it's like ecchi and kind of like borderlining hentai called Uwakoi or something like that. And it's like this guy who's with this girl, but he's with her best friend and he's cheating on this girl, and then he starts getting with this girl to keep the secret that he's cheating on his girl in the first place. So he's with 3 girls at once.
That makes sense.
Freaking cheatception city over there.
Brilliant storyline. Brilliant storyline.
Yeah, right?
Men logic.
It's a good story. It's just there's a lot of sex scenes.
It sounds like a complicated sexual death note.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cover up cheating by cheating some more. It's foolproof.
They'll never see it coming.
I'm actually currently backtrack reading for my birthday. A friend of mine bought me a lot of the Darkstalkers like art and like comic stuff, and like the compilation books. So I also have the new Avatar The Last Airbender stuff that I've been sloughing through at the moment, and I'm really excited to see if they're going to be coming out with the new comics for the whole story arc with Kuvira, because I'm interested to know at the end of with Korra to see what the hell's going on, because they answered nothing. And as well as I just finished actually watching a few months back Young Justice, and I heard that the New 52 comic for what is it called? Not Young Justice, for the New 52 of Teen Titans is actually a really accurate continuation of that story. So I'm really excited.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I heard that. So I'm so excited to pick that up and to see if it actually does jive well. Yes, please, feel free to ask any question that comes to mind.
Literally,
Doesn't matter how silly
we
it
did
is.
Pokemon impersonations. You can ask anything.
Yeah.
Quick, do the wave while they think.
Way to go, Go.
Damn it.
That is very quickly, thanks. Great.
Alright, we'll start over there. Do the wave, quick.
Oh, do the wave.
Bring it back, bring it back.
Okay, we've got that.
There you go.
Alright, we'll just,
Cosplay wave.
yeah.
Ooh, I thought of a question.
Okay.
What is your least favorite cosplay to do and why?
Wait, let's clarify that.
You are done.
That you've done, that you've done, that you've done. Yes, yes.
Define least, like, that you just don't enjoy.
Well,
Like
I
not
feel
wearing-
I
like,
think that can be open for interpretation for
Right.
cosplayer.
take it how you want and just run with it.
Okay, as much as I love, I love wearing Yoko from Gurren Lagann, I dislike wearing it because it's just a pain in the butt because the ponytail is really long and, you know, I have to carry the gun and I'm always worried about the boots bumping into things and getting scuffed. So, like, I hate my Yoko cosplay, like, at all. Like, I love wearing it and I would, you know, go through all the troubles to wear it any day. But it's definitely a hassle because of all the things that could happen, tangling the wig, scuffing the boots, and, you know, slipping. I mean, pasties, yeah, that's a good thing, ladies. But, you still don't want your pasty to slip out, so, you know, you just gotta keep adjusting stuff. Yeah, so I'd say Yoko.
I guess if you're like just the thing that's the biggest hassle to wear would be Kamina, because she has to do the tattoos, and it takes like an hour just on the tattoo.
I think my favorite and least favorite are the same one.
Seems
The
to be a
costume
trend.
that my fiance and I are known best for is our Sauron from Lord of the Rings. It's to scale, 9 feet, stilts. I love wearing it for the first hour. And then I start feeling my feet. Because painter stilts after hour 2, 3 become tiny little daggers going into your arches. But, you know, everybody wants a photo and you want to take a photo with everybody and then you just start crying under your helmet and nobody can see because they're the Dark Lord. So it's my favorite and my least favorite at the same time.
Mine would be, I did White Rabbit from the Dark Knight comics, and I mean, I redid it and I love it now, but before, I can't even believe I wore this like in public and took pictures and stuff. But yeah, she has huge rabbit ears, and I had just these weird, like, wonky antenna looking things, and like, just the whole thing was horrible. I like it now, though.
I'm gonna agree with Detty. My least favorite, my favorite, I think now is I did Aquaman, and so my very first version of it was like this wonky, like Point Break looking, like horrible wig, like just looked like really like I can't believe people let me out of the hotel room and dragged me out there.
Dude, I printed that photo and put it on my wall.
He was Bodhi, right?
Wait, is this the one that you wore the sweatshirt with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sewed. I was very proud. I
Point Break
sewed like the
Aquaman.
sleeveless
I'm not
sweatshirt.
gonna lie, that was a gem.
And I can't believe these people like allowed me out of the hotel room. And so like there was that, and then there's this cosplayer that we knew and we were friends with who was down in San Antonio, Texas, and he passed away this past year, and from a stroke. And so it kind of gave me like passion to reapproach the character because he was known down there in San Antonio as Aquaman. And so a really nice guy, and he would go around and do charity work as Aquaman and stuff. And so it kind of gave me passion to reapproach the character in another way. And so then it turned into like my favorite costume I've done because I went back and attacked it, you know, to kind of honor him. I put a few signature things on there in my costume. I made a shark tooth that had his initials engraved on it and on my armor pieces and stuff. So yeah, definitely tugs at my heartstrings later on.
I just hate any costume that's high maintenance. And high maintenance in the sense of like I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Like Catherine from the Atlas game, Catherine. I love that costume. Costume's awesome. I did the wig all perfect and everything. But when it comes to like the actual costume, the thigh highs don't want to stay up. The heels are very uncomfortable. The skirt wants to go up. Boobs want to come out. The sash wants to pop off and stuff. It's just crazy. It's a mess. If I breathe wrong, everything just. But I love the costume. I just hate wearing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the one that I hate the most to wear is not only a hassle to get on, but the fact again that you have to like be conscious of literally every direction you bend in. And I'm most proud of this outfit. It's my Injustice Regime Raven, and I am so proud of the technical aspect that I put into it. The fabric choice that I had, the way that I was able to approach it, the way it fit me, each piece, how it interlocked into itself, and I like really thought it through, and the cape and all the feathers and the whole thing. But I got to body paint myself before I get into it, and it cracks, and I'm peeling, and then the boots were like, the top of the boots were like a ½ inch too high, so I can't actually sit on a chair without it like catching the back of my knees. And then I feel like I'm gonna fall over at all times, and then I'm trying to like waddle around to not crack my body paint, but I have so much fabric like touching myself, and I'm panicking the whole time, and my contacts are just drying out, and I'm like trying to keep them open and look at people, and everyone's like, just one more picture, and I'm just like, okay, trying to like waddle around. But I'm so proud of how like the photos look, so it's like that love-hate relationship with it. Definitely, high maintenance, not feeling it.
Question for Bree The V. What about your 2013, I believe, Morgan, where you had those massive wings? How was that?
Oh, that was fine. Actually, that was like, it wasn't even an issue. It's just whenever I wanted to take a photo, like, because they wouldn't stay up. So whenever I want to take a photo, I have to like lift them up and so that you can see the detailing on the inside. But other than that, fine.
Did you make those out of fabric?
Fabric, wire, kind of like a more slick fabric. I'm really bad with fabric names, but and,
the shiny one that does the thing.
The one made of cloth.
So it was velvet and like other crap.
Go for it.
What will be your next cosplay? Oh, we're all doing this? Oh.
Yep.
Next cosplay?
Yeah, like a new one that you haven't done yet.
Oh, well, I'm making a lot of stuff right now. I think that what I'm most excited for would probably have to be Ren from the anime Gears. It's something new that I haven't really tried making yet, and the hair is really complicated, but I'm really excited for it because Ren's just a cute character, and I love to cosplay her, and I can't wait.
Well, the next cosplay I'm doing, like the very next one, is probably going to be Little Mac for MagFest. Because, it's easy, and I like playing Little Mac in Smash. And never do a side B. Because that's how you die. But,
Go man.
it's simple. I've played Smash since like the N64 Smash, and I've been having fun playing Little Mac, so I was like, I'm going to cosplay Little Mac.
And you're doing, what version? Are you just doing green? Or are you going to do multiple?
Pink hoodie.
I'm thinking about like having the pink hoodie, and then like later, like maybe midday taking off, and then just being the tank top with the shorts.
Nice. You should do wireframe a little bit, no challenge.
You can find pink sweatpants on eBay.
But we already have the hood.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We could always paint my legs pink. That's an option.
Draw some green lines on you, wireframe you.
Yeah, we could do that too. That's always an option.
Can I just pause and say I got so excited for 0.25 when you said Ren because I thought you were going to say Ren from Ren and Stimpy.
Oh my god!
Oh, forget it. I'm not cosplaying Ren from Gears anymore.
Does that mean I have to be Stimpy?
You can be honest.
I see no negative repercussions about that.
Nope.
Guys, I will do Toastman for you.
Let's all do it. Let's do this.
Ren and Stimpy group costume happening now.
I call Muddy.
We have a couple in the works, but my next big one is we're going to do the Hulkbuster from Avengers 2.
Oh my god.
We're going to do it to scale,
No.
big time, lights, motors, the works. So hopefully we'll have that for New York Comic Con 2015. But in the more immediate future, I think we're going to do Cyrax from Mortal Kombat. Robo Dreads.
God damn.
My one I'm working on right now is Scarecrow, like pretty much based off the Arkham games, but obviously I can't walk around shirtless, so I have to like kind of make my own thing to go underneath.
That's you.
My next one has just been, I've been waiting to wear it. It's been sitting there like in storage, is Dawn of Justice version of Batman from the new movie coming out. So it's just like sitting waiting. Like
If only you had a Superman to go with you.
Only I did have a Man of Steel.
I have 18 cosplays in progress now.
Wow.
I'm trying to do them all this year. That's my goal, to do them all this year. They're not all overly complicated. It's just I want to do 18. I guess the two that I'm most excited for is Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, my own Commander Shepard.
Nice.
Because, you know, the armor's cool and stuff. And it'll be my first time working with Evil Phone, so I'm not excited for that, but I am at the same time. And the Diva Plava Laguna from Fifth Element.
Ooh.
And
That's gonna be
Whoa.
wonderful.
I hope so. I hope it comes out right, but
There's no in between. I feel it's gonna be either like amazing or like you're just gonna be crying in your hotel. not that I'm trying to project that on you. But if I was to make that myself, I feel like that's my two options. That's either gonna work or I'm gonna be crying in my hotel.
The cosplay community is really supportive.
For me, 2015 is the year of plug suits. Considering Evangelion is set in 2015, I was like, this has to happen. So I have my sights set on a plug suit from at least one Eva plug suit, one Gundam plug suit. I also want to do Major Kusanagi's plug suit because I do cosplay Major Kusanagi, but her Ghost Michelle version. So we'll see how many plug suits I can cram into 2015.
Nice.
Do any of them breathe?
Huh?
Any of the suits breathe or?
No, I don't know if anybody can see if they're still there. I have like a slight abrasion across my neck right now from the suit that I was wearing today because the suit that was underneath the shirt that I had for my red hood was part of a plug suit. So those things are not forgiving whatsoever in terms of flexibility, and you sweat under them and you don't move at all, and like it hurts like because the zipper is so tight on my spine I actually can't like hunch and I don't feel comfortable at all, but they look really cool.
You're right.
So it's like that's your toss up right there.
Outside of everyone on the panel right now, there were obviously other cosplayers. What was your favorite cosplay that you saw today outside of everyone at the panel?
I don't know, I liked a lot of the ones I saw, but I think the most interesting was the Dalek that's running around.
Oh my god.
It's just kind of like just cruising. Like it just keeps going around and making its laps, and then like the top half of it was off and it was a kid inside.
He was like a 10-year-old boy. He was
He's won a lot of awards.
So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, there's a kid inside.
He goes to the side note, that little kid goes to my son's school.
That's pretty
And
cool.
I actually introduced him to the cosplay community.
That's really awesome.
Last year he we had a Halloween party at his school last year, and that was his Halloween costume. And they made it, and I show up at the school and I'm like, this is amazing. They're like, well, it took us about 6-7 months to do. It's like, well, what are you gonna do with this now? He's like, nothing. We're gonna go trick or treat and take it home. I'm like, Rhode Island Comic Con's next week. You need to go. And he went to Rhode Island Comic Con and had a blast. And then they went to Super Mega Fest the weekend after that. And a year later, they've been going to cons and I think they've been commissioned to do 3 more Daleks and 2 TARDISes. So
wow.
Is it TARDISes or TARDI?
TARDI. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, and that's actually I think their second version. It's the same one, but they've modified it. He's got a drink holder in it now.
What?
He's got a drink holder in it.
AC
Yeah, he's got a drink holder in it. It spins. He's got like
fan
lights in it. Yeah,
There's like iPod set up in there.
But yeah, his mom, his dad, and him, they all go to the cons together
Sounds like
now.
the best thing ever.
It sounds like the inside of the Dalek is a TARDIS. Kind of mind-boggling, right?
Exactly. So.
I mean, I don't know, we weren't here very long.
It was the carnage that touches nipples.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Done.
Say it right there. I got
There's the
you.
same answer. Done.
Sure.
Outside of the Dalek, because that's totally what I was gonna say. It was a very simple costume, but I actually saw somebody dressed up as Gideon from Scott Pilgrim.
I got
It
him.
was just,
Yeah.
it was like he walked by my booth 3 times, and I'm like, are "Are you?" And I finally asked him, and he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Hell
I
yes."
yelled it as soon as I walked
Yeah.
by.
So like and it was a really really good Gideon.
Yeah.
But it's such a simple costume, but he was spot on. So that kind of made my day.
Mine was, it's hard to choose because I saw a lot of good costumes, but I liked the Shield Agent just because it was very like elaborate. And then outside, I went and looked, and like he had the truck and like lights and everything. And
Shield
they had
truck
that
one.
dog. Yeah, they had that dog walking around. And they told me they were gonna make him a vest. So I was like, oh my god.
You got a
So
shield
cute.
dog.
Yeah.
I like stuff that you don't. I'm a huge Batman guy, fan and whatnot. So I saw this guy dressed as like some lesser-known villains and stuff. He was dressed as Black Mask.
Yeah.
So I appreciate seeing people do the stuff that everybody always does Joker or whatnot. And, so it's kind of cool seeing somebody do another villain besides that.
Along with Gideon, I saw the doll. I'm not sure what the name is.
Oh, it's
That's
B-Boy.
his name? No, that's not his name.
Are you talking about the puppet?
Yes, the puppet. And
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I think, there's like this little doll that you have to pay attention to while you're doing the camera stuff, because if the lullaby stops, then bad things happen. So someone cosplayed as the doll, and it was creepy, but it was awesome. So yeah, Gideon and also the little pirouette doll.
My MVP of the night for the costumes goes to that guy who was the Jedi on the other side of the room.
Oh snap! Yeah.
He was in the zone. He was saving the universe, and he had technique. He would flail that little saber around, and like no one was coming near him. Like he practiced his jousting lessons. Let me tell you, like he was so in there, and I stood there for like a good 20 minutes, just like, huh. Yeah, so that entertained me for a solid chunk of the day.
Did any of us just picture people jousting with lightsabers?
I don't know what technique would that be called.
Sword fighting.
No, it's not regular. That's not like. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Alright,
But the best image though, because like I like picture him on speeder.
I thought of fencing.
Why is this not a thing? If Quidditch is a real sport, then damn it, I want lightsaber costumes.
Talking about real sports and having Quidditch as a real sport. Anyone hear about how they do pro bending as a sport right now? How
Wait,
it's
what?
starting?
Yeah,
Avatar pro bending, because it's 3 people and they have the different elements, and they created these rules where it's 3 on 3, and they have like a series of like frisbees and like tennis balls that are covered in fabric to designate like whether it's fire or water, and they have a certain amount of them on either side, and they have to like battle each other now. So that's starting to become a thing. I'm so excited.
So why can't we have lightsaber jousting?
Listen, we need to.
I would rather a frisbee earth disc curled at my head than a jousting lightsaber.
We need to email.
Alright, we'll go to Central Park, we'll try both, we'll see which
We'll make an event.
Yeah.
Facebook me the event.
You got it.
Build a speeder first, we'll call it a deal.
Why are we not funding this?
Don't fund me.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, throw that Kickstarter up.
It's like Kickstart our journey to space travel.
Watch it, we'd like get 500% funding.
Yeah. So where's the jousting, guys?
Just the two of us on bicycles.
Didn't think this through.
The technology wasn't there.
On that lovely note, is there anything else?
See what happens when you guys don't ask questions.
About the pro bending?
Yes.
Is that are the rules going to be exactly the same as it was in the show? Because they got knocked off platforms. Into
No,
the
I
water.
think it's
feel
more like you're playing on, say, like a cement, or like in a park or something, and you just designate the lines of where you're supposed to be. I'm not exactly sure how they're reffing it, but I know that like water has the tennis ball as like a sharp, like that short blast of water, versus they have one that has like a long piece of fabric to be like that long, like swirly, watery thing. And then fire, I think, only has like a certain amount of just the tennis balls themselves, and I'm not sure exactly as far as the reffing side of it, but I was just so dazzled by the idea that I think it was a Tumblr article that I'd first read that they're starting to try to make local teams. It's still in that phase. You know, when Quidditch started, everyone thought it was the biggest joke ever, and they're like, this is never gonna take off, and now it's like colleges have Quidditch teams. So it's going to.
Cities have teams now too.
Yeah, I
New
think
York
it has
has too.
to take. I think it has to take a few years for them to, at least a few months for them to sort of take out all the quirks of making it a land real bending experience, and then
Let's see if
Then
we
we'll
can
see
do
it
it
in
at New York
streets.
Comic Con next year. This year.
Lightsaber jousting at New York Comic Con.
Lightsaber.
I'd pay.
Let's email Lance.
I'd pay for it.
Let's email Lance and see if we can make it happen.
Let's do it.
But yeah, so if that's it, I think we've had a solid
That's a good panel.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We had a wonderful time telling you shenanigans about ourselves and making an absolute complete fool of myself with jousting versus fencing.
Real quick, can we just get a roll call, basically?
Of course, I'm Gina B, and
I'm Bree The V.
okay.
Spencer
Right.
So far.
Sorry.
I'm Spencer Doe.
Lyndsey Elaine.
I'm Detty of Detty Cosplay.
Visored Cosplay.
Misa Lynn or Cosplay Love Pro.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun.